New York Knickerbockers recap through 3 games. The Juice Bar, Alex Monaco, Sean Little, you know the deal. Through 3 games, Knicks 1-2, 2 losses to clearly the best team in the league right now in the Boston Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are the exact opposite of the Knicks in the sense of these are the same guys on the roster.
Yeah.
It's almost the exact same team from last year. They're gelled. They're ready to go.
Sure.
And they looked that in Game 3. They got the W at the Garden. Couple numbers here, and then we'll get into how we feel about the squad overall right now, the atmosphere at the Garden, and then we'll look ahead to the next 4 or 5 games. For the Knicks, positives. Shooting 50.4% from the field. That's second best in the league behind the Cavs.
Very good.
37.6% from 3, 7th best. Let's talk about a little flip side. Dead last in pace, which is always big. 96 possessions per game. The Bulls lead the league at 109. That's 13 possessions more.
Yeah. Knicks were bottom 7 pace team last year.
Yes, no doubt. I said dead last, though.
Yeah.
By a wide margin, the pace is down for the New York Knicks. And I believe that makes the offensive numbers look a little better because they're not getting up and down as much, and then it hurts on the defensive side. 29th in opponent field goal percentage, 29th in overall defensive rating. What do you think about the Knicks through 3? There's been some good flashes. There have been some bad. They dominated the Pacers.
Yeah.
It's hard to be as judgmental because 3 playoff teams from last year won the title. This is not. We talked about the Cavs coming in. They had played 3 cupcakes to kind of get warmed up for this spot against the Knicks.
Yeah, I mean, you just said it. 3 quality Eastern Conference playoff teams that the Knicks have battled with just back and forth throughout the last couple seasons. But I guess the biggest thing we're looking at with this team, obviously, is we're rolling out a lot of a different kind of squad than last year for a lot of reasons. This is a more talented team. This is in the conversation for a top 3, top 5 starting 5 in the NBA. But obviously they got to gel. And you have a fan base that's just so loyal and so ready to win off of the last couple of Jalen Brunson seasons with momentum that we're coming into this season and really almost have to take a step back and give these boys some time. Patience is the word that comes to mind. This team's got to figure out how to gel. And on the positive side, offensively, with the numbers you just broke down, they look excellent. They really do. I think Bridges has fit in seamlessly, averaging a little over 18 through 3. I think these guys will figure out their roles. The cat pick and roll with JB looks money. Defensive side, obviously. Depth, energy off the bench. These are all things that are going to kind of come in throughout reps. But I liked what I saw as far as just chemistry out the gate.
Offensively, it's there.
Yeah.
The identity on the defensive side needs to be solidified. Cleveland coming in is probably the most underappreciated team on the board. They were like 20-1 to win the East.
Top 10 D from last year. Played 2 ways.
Clearly talked about behind Philly, the Knicks, and Boston, and Miami in some senses.
Milwaukee.
Potentially even being a play-in team. They're way better than that.
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell. The question about Donovan Mitchell was, does he want to be in Cleveland? Will he buy in? He extended. They extended the bigs.
Yeah.
He looks like he's going to be there. That's his squad. He's going to try to make it work there. So the 2 losses are against some of the best teams in the NBA, as we talked about. Pacers was a good win.
It's an excellent one.
The reason, first of all, the energy in the Garden's been amazing.
Amazing. Always
going to be there. The reason they were able to beat up on the Pacers is because they played the game at their pace. You messaged me yesterday. Actually, during the Cavs game, we were like, hey, I would like to see the Knicks dictate more the pace of each game, then that's where they have a little bit more control.
Yeah, and I guess the observation was, all right, you're playing the Pacers, number 1 in pace last year, top 3 offense. You played kind of their style, and you beat them at their style because this is a more physical, defensive-minded, at least coming off last year, Knicks team. They just can impose their will with Indy. You saw it over by halftime. I was in the arena. It was over. It was over energetically. If Halliburton wears what he wore and doesn't score a basket again at the Garden, man should go through the security like the rest of us. But in all seriousness, you go against Cleveland, kind of a similar stylistic club. So that's a good early test for these boys. But as we look ahead to kind of some low-hanging fruit here, no disrespect to some of these guys on the road, but Atlanta, Detroit, Miami, the Knicks have handled these clubs handily over the last couple of seasons. They've taken, 8 and 9, 7 of the last 8 against Houston. I see a theme with this Knicks team picking off lower quality clubs with ease. what we saw in the first 3 games is going to be the real test that you're going to see throughout, especially the first half of the season. How do you show up against the cream of the crop in the East, top-tier teams in the West?
Yeah.
And what the Knicks are up against is lack of continuity. I'm always football's a game of repetition. This is a game of confidence and flow. How can you sit there with top-tier confidence if we're talking pickup ball and you haven't even played with these boys and you're going against, like we said, Pacers have been together, Celtics have been together, exact same team, Cavs have been together.
I'll tell you right now, these next 4 games at Miami, at Detroit, at Houston, at Atlanta, that's at the bare minimum 3-1.
Oh, without question.
That's how I feel about that. So, cool the Jets.
Yeah.
Let's see how they do on the road. Miami, I told you, look out for them. It might be over there. They don't have enough
You
firepower.
did say that.
They don't have enough offensive firepower. I get what they're trying to do, but Jimmy is getting old. Hero is a bucket getter.
Dwayne Wade's statue didn't help.
The Dwayne Wade statue did not help the perception of what's going on down there in Miami. But the Knicks should be able to take care of business against these teams. Obviously, going on the road is always a bit tougher.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see how they react against, a non-ring night atmosphere. We're already in the grind of the regular season. What are you going to look like in the middle of the week when you got to go to Detroit? Are you going to show up and bust their head?
Yeah.
Or are you going to be a little lackadaisical and look a little flustered because it's a new team, we have to get stuff figured out? I'm excited to see that.
Before moving off, I want to get your thoughts on it, just identity-wise. Last year, we knew what the identity was. These were guys that were slept on, passed on. We knew they were grinders. They were going to out-dog you, out-hustle you. When you look at a more talented team like this, especially at starting 5, what sticks out to you just identity-wise that you think is going to work best for this club, gel-wise?
Well, clearly the offense, when it gets enough possessions, is good.
Yeah.
I think we got to figure out the pace piece.
So do you like them having a higher pace? You don't like them bottom
because
7.
what does that mean? Bottom pace means less room for error offensively.
Sure.
If you have more possessions, you got a little more wiggle room to get things working, right? Offensively, they have the pieces, they have the skill set, they have the shooting necessary to be really impactful on that end. They just got to figure out the frequency and where the ball goes or where not. Right now, as we sit in going to Game 4, Campaign has more shot attempts than Cat. That's something that needs to get cleaned up, and it will as we get further into the year.
You know any guys play a pickup ball like Campaign plays off the bench? Just ton of confidence.
Well, for a team that starting 5 is going to need time, there are roles that are solidified, and Campaign's role is clear to come off the bench and get shots up because that's what they need off the bench. So I'm not mad for a guy doing his job and what he's asked. Now, is he good? Will he be enough off the bench is a different story.
3 games in. Knicks tape.